Howdy, 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 buddy.
Howdy, howdy. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very, very well, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
I realized that I did not change the episode number in
We
our
are on
intro
8. Yes.
video, so we are on episode number 7 dose.
Yes.
Yeah, so whatever. I got dude, it's cold. We're
Listen. So I
I know
not
you're gonna bitch
today.
about it. That's why I brought it up.
Yes. So not today. Today was like 36, which in Michigan is like 95, right? In the wintertime. Yesterday, when I went to my car, it was a balmy 1 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just sat in there thinking, oh my God.
You don't have a car starter?
No, dude. I go by motivation.
Oh.
yeah.
How's that working as you get older?
Not good. Not good. But thankfully, the Marine Corps has prepared me for this. Just being used to being miserable as I sat in there, I did what we like to call embrace the suck.
Ah,
I just sat there and dealt with it. So
that's pretty legit.
yeah. So it's cold. I think it's cold everywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean here it's probably it's below freezing, which for Maryland it's I mean you guys got that lake effect up there too. I mean so there's nothing I can really say to you that you're not gonna understand what I'm dealing with here in Maryland. So I wonder how it is up in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Probably really freaking cold. I would imagine. I would imagine. It's not very.
I'm very, very excited about tonight's episode. So we're gonna kind of just hop right into everything. Thank you everybody for joining us. Welcome to episode 8 of Disarranged 1775. We've got Dan and Carrie McDonough on, and there's
Jonathan Gray. Holy cow!
Oh, we've got some comments coming in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, look at this. Well, I love the support. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Thank you guys for being here.
So I have to do a quick story about the first time I remember seeing Carrie and Dan. I'm just gonna lump it all up, and like when I saw them together for the first time.
Okay.
And I know Carrie's probably thinking what story I'm kind of gonna come at, but I think I've told them this. I was coming out of my barracks room, and I happened to look down the catwalk, and I see old man McDonough, right? Like, shiny gray hair, and all of a sudden I'm like looking, and there's like this little petite thing with jet black hair. I mean, I'm saying like there's nothing darker that I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm like, who in the heck is that? Boom. Fast forward not that much, like not that far. They were our family. Like they were our military family. They looked out for everybody. And there's such a great dynamic of a couple. So I was just really excited when they agreed to come on tonight. And
yeah, very grateful. We got
you remember when you first met McDonough? Now your story must be a little bit different because as you came into Romeo, we had already established, friendships and relationships and everything.
Yeah, I think me and Dan got introduced because we were both the grandfathers. There was Lewis was there too. But
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. There was 3
compared
of
to you guys. Yeah, you could have been like our children. So they're like, oh, hey, McDonough, look, here's Gardner. He's an old man too. Funny stuff like that. So that's probably how And I remember thinking, he doesn't look that old for his age. He still looks great, but
No, he looks great. He looks handsome. So let's get them in here. I'm just going to give everybody a quick background for all those people out there that don't know the McDonoughs. They have a very, very unique story. We're excited to talk to them and learn about it. And if you're a military person going through any type of transition in the civilian world, even at post your service, whether it be new jobs and different types of stresses, I think this is going to be a very good episode for people. You're going to get a raw inside look of a transition of a United States Marine Corps veteran that struggles with PTSD, the family effects, and then everything transitioning outside of the military and how everything's come full circle with them. And let's get them in here. You ready?
Man, I'm so ready. I'm very excited. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the McD's.
Yo!
Hey, guys.
There's always got to be the center of attention.
What? I just have to say, as soon as we hopped on, the baby started like crying a little bit. So if you hear a baby,
It's
Okay.
Hey, listen, this could be a first. Why don't you? Do you want to? Can you introduce the baby? Is he sleeping right now?
oh well, he's looking all around. Let me.
Is he is he lifting weights already?
He's lifting. This is our little baby Angelo.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
This is a first on Disarranged. This is the first Disarranged baby. So I guess
Yes.
that's
Say hi.
beautiful. That's awesome. Oh, he's smiling.
Beautiful.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah,
Thank
congratulations.
How old?
He will be 2 months on the 18th.
2 months. Now, are we going to be doing a baby on a blanket?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right.
Not original, I know, but I think it's cute.
It is cute.
What's the baby on the blanket?
They're like the celebratory 1 month, 2 month thing. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, everyone online, you'll start scrolling down, and like if there's like a cluster of your friends that have had kids all around the same time, your whole news feed is just like baby on a blanket, baby on a blanket.
Yeah. And
I
then
know Rodriguez is out there, and he just did his, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
We've got some comments. I'm just going to start. We've got a great crowd tonight, so I'm going to run through here. How's everything going with you guys? You want to give us an update? What's going on?
We're still, Poughkeepsie is freezing.
Last night.
Yeah, it was 12 degrees last night. I think the other day was like 7. I don't know. It's really bad. But we are both on leave he's walking away. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, it's fine.
He's on leave. I'm on leave. We go back to work in like a couple of weeks, I guess. Luckily I work from home, so it's not that much of an issue, but
Nice.
this guy goes back to West Point.
So when he goes back, Carrie, you have to work from home and watch. Okay. And Dan gets to go back to work.
He just gets to go back to work. Yeah, I'll have the baby, and also, of course, Anthony, our first. He's 10, so I got to bring him to school and all that. But
Jeez.
it's fine. We'll be fine. It's all good.
Where is Anthony?
He just got out of karate class, so he's washing up right now.
All
Trust
right.
me, he's like he wants to
I
hop
want to be on
on.
the show.
He wants to be on the show. So
Oh,
he'll-
listen, absolutely. He's going
on.
to have to get introduced to my nephew Bryson.
Oh, okay.
For sure. Which just reminds me too. I forgot to do shout outs, Matt. I'm struggling tonight, buddy.
I think I
That's
saw your.
all right, man.
Did your sister just comment? I think I saw.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of people on here. I don't know what you guys got going on your end. but
I just saw Carrie.
Yeah. We've got a great crowd. So listen, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. We're gonna get into kind of laying out the basis of your story, and yeah, going from there. Sorry, I was reading the comments all at the same time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of go back and forth, Carrie. I'm gonna kind of ask you a couple questions
Okay.
to kind of build the stage and set the stage for everybody. And then when we go into Dan, Matt will kind of take over a little bit. Now, mind you guys, this is all open conversation, right? Like we just kind of want to kind of pull out key information that we can to try to provide any type of value for our guests and our audience. And again, thanks for doing this and being open and honest with everything that you guys have been through, good, bad, and ugly. We really, really do appreciate it. So Carrie, I don't even know if I know this, but how did you meet Dan?
Oh, I love this story. I met Dan. I was working in the mall at Limited 2, which is now it's Justice, I think. I don't know, that little kid store. Poughkeepsie Galleria. And my assistant manager, Vanessa, was dating her then boyfriend. Now they're married. His name is one of his friends, Jamie. And they came in to visit her or whatever. And we both were like noticed each other, but we're like shy about it. And then they were trying to set him up with somebody else. And I was like,
luckily I looked at the one that was setting me up. I'm like, who's that one?
Yeah. And then obviously that didn't work out with the other one. And
I didn't even talk to her.
I was just, what?
I didn't even talk to her.
I don't even know who it was. Hopefully she's not listening. Sorry. But and then it just obviously went from there. We went on a bunch of like group dates and bowling and diner stuff, and then that was it.
So how long were you guys dating when presented the idea about joining the Marine Corps?
Oh, we 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years. Because he went in 2008.
Yep.
And we met in 2002. And
so I guess did you always know that he wanted to do it? He just came home one day and was like, hey.
So
yes.
So I guess that's where I'd like to like kind of dig in a little bit to see what your emotions and feelings were there.
Yeah, I remember it vividly. We were at, I remember a lot. He doesn't. So we were at a stoplight at where we used to work at Adams Ferry Farms. And I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. And we weren't working at the time, but we were just passing by talking about it. And he was like, I'm gonna enlist. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like it just kind of like out of nowhere,
out of the blue.
And I'll never forget, I started tearing up because I knew what it meant.
Mm-hmm.
And he just
at that time,
I just knew it was like, I'm not going to see him. He's going to go to war, and I'm not going to know what to do. And it was scary for me because I just wanted to be with him, obviously. So him leaving was not a fun idea for me. And I was just scared from that point on for a while.
Right.
Yeah. And that's interesting, Dan, because it was the same thing with me. It was like out of the blue. For me, it was like I knew I needed to do something, and the Marine Corps just came up, and it was like, oh, I'm going to join the Marine Corps. Everybody around me was like, what the hell are you talking about? It's because, of my age, it wasn't like I was 18 years old. So
yeah,
that was another thing too. Everyone was like, oh, but what were you, 28?
28.
Yeah. So I don't know what the age limit is, but I was like, oh, like I didn't care about the age thing, but it was, like the same kind of thing. He felt like he needed, in my opinion, to do something. And
I needed to get out of New York.
And he was honestly like, the second he left the office, he already had his Marine shirt and he put it on right away.
The police shirt.
Yeah. And he was just, it was like a different person because he just completely like felt like a purpose was there.
Now, had you had any exposure to military life up to this point?
No, I did not.
So, I mean, did you do any like research? Like, how did you?
Oh yeah, from that point on, I was. I don't
know. She was in care packages before anybody.
Well,
else.
yeah, like okay, so he went to boot camp and everything, and then I looked for like group forums that I could meet people, talk to them. Just had questions because I had no idea what to do, how to do it, like if I was going to be able to call him, all that stuff. And obviously I couldn't, and then boot camp happened and I kind of went from there. Like everything was just kind of research, Googling, or was it Yahoo at the time? I don't remember, but
AOL.
yeah, AOL.com.
AOL. Right.
Dial up.
You're really showing our age, but anyway, and then that point, like I just started meeting people, and we all helped each other a lot because some people didn't know, like maybe were in the same boat as I was, and then other people had experience, so they knew what to do. Sorry, the baby just burped.
No, that's awesome. This is great.
Perfect.
Now, Carrie, fast forward. Dan's in the military. He gets to Lejeune. You're on the catwalk on N Street.
Yes.
Sneaking into his barracks.
I don't think I was.
I think I might have. I added.
I'm sure she probably sees it differently than that.
I was not speaking. I was there at appropriate hours, wasn't I?
Did you sign in the logbook?
Yeah,
I think I did.
There we go.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure
Yes.
Dan had her sign in the logbook.
Yes,
So-
the
because
smart one.
he was like, write the time, and I wrote regular time because I don't still
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
Ah.
good.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So you're in there. Do you remember our first interaction?
I remember it just as you do because it was a lot of you guys on the catwalk. So I remember
think
you.
He introduced. I'm pretty sure, like he introduced you to everybody.
Yeah. So it was you.
Because it had been like what, Dan? Wasn't it like a month or two or whatever? You guys were apart, or there was a long period of time, wasn't there?
Before she came down, or
Yeah.
Well, boot camp graduation, I saw her.
Yeah.
Then we went back.
And then
MCT, then
yeah,
Fort Sill.
we got married December of 2008, and I didn't move down there till February of 2009.
Okay.
So.
Wow. So yeah, we had already been whooping it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could already tell you were the crazy one. So I was like, oh, okay. So this is what.
yeah, that doesn't take long to figure out, right?
Yeah. Pretty transparent. So
Right.
I'd like to just call myself open
and
active.
Open. That's what you call yourself, open?
No, it's probably a horrible choice of words, and I'll just have to cut that out later. But
yeah.
Right.
I don't know about active is the
I'm a butterfly.
I want to say.
So I'm interested, Carrie. What did you think of Dan's? I don't know if you actually chose Dan your MOS, but what did you think of joining him joining a ground combat?
Well, I was so confused because when he enlisted, I was told one thing. You were told one. I forget what it was.
Really?
And and I'd spoken to his
recruiter.
Yeah, thank you. The person who helped him. The recruiter was like, well, that's the plan, but a lot of times, that doesn't always happen. And I'm like, okay, but where does that leave me? Because I didn't know what I was just so confused. And it was just from there, he had to tell me what you guys did. I didn't know. I'm like, okay, I don't know what artillery, what that is. I'm like numbers. I forget what I called it. I was like, your group. He's like, no, it's the battery. I was like, okay. And I remember like being there for some formations. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
It was really cool. Like once you got settled in, I remember things like, looking back at it now, time kind of slowed down a little bit during some of those periods. Looking back, being like, man, you guys were such a staple. Like, however we all moved and interacted, like we were always a part of something, right? Like we were always connected, whether we weren't even hanging out, but we were hanging out with somebody that we like, that, was interacting with somebody, but they're like, oh yeah, they're at Dan and Carrie's, or like, oh, they're with Turner and Stu or something, right. So you guys became such a huge part of everybody in our circles, really military career, because I think there's only a few people that stayed in after the 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember, now I just want to try to kind of switch tides a little bit. Do you remember during that active duty time, as now you being a freshly new military wife, you fell right into the role, I think, very perfect. It was flawless.
Well, thank you. I did try.
you did very, very well. You and some others did a very, very good job. But do you remember at a time where you may have started to see a shift in Dan's behavior at all?
That's easy.
Yeah, we had it was after you guys came back from Afghanistan. We went to.
Are we talking about Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, we went to what was it, Bike Week in Myrtle Beach? We went to Myrtle Beach with some of our friends.
It's supposed to be Bike Week.
Was it I don't know if some of you guys, I don't know if some of you, I know obviously you weren't there, but I don't know if any of
Ashley and
her then husband, another Marine. I met her through the message boards again,
Cool.
became friends. We went to Bike Week and we had a little bit of an argument, a disagreement we were out, having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like normal that I was used to kind of from him.
The type of argument or the way it was
his reaction, the way he reacted to me. It was a stupid moment of insecurity on my part.
I just blew up.
And he blew up bad. And I was kind of like in shock. I remember sitting in the bathroom crying because I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Not violently.
No.
Let's clear that.
Never violent.
No violence.
But I was just very upset because I just didn't know how to respond to it. It was just kind of very erratic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, then I had said, let's just like separate for the night. He went back to the room we were staying in. I went to stay at my friend's.
I went back to the apartment.
Oh, you went back to our apartment. So that's not good.
I hopped back on the bike.
Yeah.
And I flew back to Jacksonville.
And
from Myrtle Beach.
And he was at this point
by myself in the middle of the night.
Right. And so, but at this point I'm at my friend's where they were staying and I just was like trying to calm down. And he was calling me, saying not so very nice things, like basically like almost trying to like erase me kind of thing. And that right after that was when we went to counseling because I was like, I don't know what to do here.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit, Carrie and Dan, about your guys' experience with him being in Afghanistan? What it was like. I would talk a little bit about your experience, Carrie, because we don't get to hear a lot of what the spouse goes through.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. That was hard because I moved down thinking I had at least another year of him being with me.
Yeah.
And literally, I think it was the next day I moved down. You guys were in formation.
It was like Thanksgiving or something.
No, it was February.
February 17th.
When you guys came back. I'm talking about when you left. So you were in formation. It was like the day after I moved down. We were going to look for apartments. And you guys all came back up to all of you. I remember you, Lewis, obviously, Stu, I think Johnson. Craig. Yeah.
Jackson.
I was in the room and you all came back like with this look on your face. And I'm like, what? And he was like, we're leaving like within the next month and a half. And I was like, I was like, can we again, didn't know. I was like, can we move you somewhere else? Like, can I change this somehow? And he's like, no, like we literally, this is what we have to do. So we went to go see an apartment and I remember he was like, do you want to go back up to New York to stay with your family while I'm there? And I just remember thinking, I need to make a life down here for when he comes back. And I need to do this on my own. Like I just like I wanted to be with my family, but I felt like I had to be there. That was just what I needed to do.
Very cool.
Now, what was it like? I know there was a lot of times when we were out there. Well, we first got down there. Dan, I'm not sure if you were a part of the group that came down on the helos or you convoyed down. But I mean, it was a long time before we got to call or anything like that. Can you talk about some of those times, Carrie, and what it was like for you?
Oh, it was, always thinking I was in a bad reception spot with my cell phone. And if my phone happened to die. Like that never really happened, but that was a big fear of mine.
Right.
I remember I went to a local Jacksonville fair with some other, I think it was Granados at the time, and his then wife and my neighbor. And I was on a ride, and I was like, if I miss his call because of a fucking ride, I can curse, right?
Oh, good.
yeah.
Oh, the baby.
The baby doesn't know yet. I was like, if I miss his call because of a fucking ride, I'm gonna probably like destroy this ride. Like,
Yeah,
right.
I was just always a fear of mine not hearing from him. And then, after a while, you go, when am I going to hear from him again? And I was in communication with the family readiness officer. She was okay. She wasn't very supportive in the fact that I was like, I don't know what I'm like, how I'm supposed to do this, like how long it's going to take. And she's like, we just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, but that does not help me.
Exactly.
I need to go off of something so I feel a little more confident, and then we got the information that we could send care packages, which I love doing.
Sent me a birthday cake.
I sent him a birthday cake in a jar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
sure
awesome.
did. The jar cakes they would call them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what? I made 2 of them because the first one I put the candles in too soon and it melted right into the cake. So that's a fun story.
There you go.
But yeah, so that was, things like that were just always encouraging. I loved any phone call, obviously. And then we had that one, we did like a Skype.
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
it was like, wasn't it like 5 minutes or 8 minutes or something?
It was so
weird.
quick.
They let us go in a booth real quick.
Yes. Yep. And it was the same thing on our end. They're like, okay, you're going to go in a room. Just wait till he walks in. You're going to have about 5 minutes. And that was it.
Yeah.
And while it was wonderful, but at the same time, it just made you, every time that I either got to talk to him or that time with the Skype call, it got harder because it was like, okay.
It made it worse, right? It almost made it worse.
It did because I wanted more. I wanted to talk to him more. Of course, I wanted to see him more.
Yeah.
And I had no control over that. And I'm not good with that kind of not being in control stuff. So it was really difficult for me.
Matt, go ahead.
No, that whole experience, I know exactly that time, and it's from a Marine's perspective, and I'm sure Dan probably felt the same way. It's almost just easier mentally. Not that we don't love and think about those back home, but just to shut that off. And then when you get that quick snapshot of it, it just opens all those emotions again. And then you have to go through the whole process of trying to numb it out. And it's just interesting seeing the other side of it and seeing what you went through. But yeah, I remember it made it worse. It
just opened everything back up again. Like you're like trying to go about things, and then it's like, oh wait, I'm going through this, and then here we are again.
So Carrie, let's fast forward to kind of the beginning of your transition. We all put in our 4 years. The unit started to kind of break apart. People were moving on, and then there was words of 5th Battalion, 10th Marines being dismembered. Mm-hmm. So
disband.
What did I say? Dismembered.
Dismembered. Yes.
Anyways, moving on. Can you, because I had already been out a couple months, and so I started my journey. What was it like to go from that type of life and then make your journey back home and get settled?
Well, towards the end of the 4 years, I was just ready to come home. Like I was like, because
I do remember that. I do remember you were.
I was like, I got to get out of here, and my friends were leaving because their husbands were getting out, and I was like, I just want to be home. I want to be with my family. At that point, we had Anthony, so I just wanted to be around my family and friends. And yeah, that was the second. We could talk about that deployment too. When you guys were in Okinawa, and we had Anthony, and he was there, and I had him, obviously.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to touch on that?
Go for it. Get in it. Let's go. Come on, we're
So,
live. We can do whatever we want. That's the
I
greatest
know
thing
it's your
about
show. You tell me.
it. No, go for it.
So it was a non-combat deployment. Am I saying
Yep.
that right? Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
pointless for me.
Pointless, but you guys had to go to Okinawa.
It was a UDP.
Unit deployment program.
Program, yeah. That's
Program, right?
Yeah, we were the first battery to go on the UDP since the war started. They just started it back. Of course, they chose Romeo.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Let's cut our teeth with them, but go for it.
So, that again, I was like, we have to do this again, and I'm pregnant, and I don't know, how I'm gonna navigate this, but
That's when I told you to go back home.
that's when he was like, you need to go back home. You're not having the baby here. You're not gonna be by yourself down here with the baby. I said, okay, all right, and I totally agreed to that because I did not want to be by myself, and I went back to stay with my parents, my parents and my sister, and it was really. I'm trying to be. I don't know. I'm trying to be good about what I'm going to say because there were certain chain of commands.
Shirts here.
Yeah, that was an
Carrie,
issue.
you can be as raw
you can
and
say whatever
open
you
and
want.
honest.
Let it rip.
Let it
I
go,
don't know if you
girl.
remember. We'll get to the Marine Corps ball when I tried to tell him off and he ran from me. It was like smoke coming out. I was like, I need to talk to you. He's like, yeah, give me a minute, and he like ran because I just wanted to rip him a new one. But anyway, so I was trying to. The first due date we were given for Anthony was July 10th.
Okay.
Then we knew, okay, you guys were going away or deployed and yada yada. So we're like, he can get leave if he puts in for it, and we're going to try to time the birth where he's home and he can be there for it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go to the Naval Hospital and they tell me, no, that's not the right due date. Your due date should be later, like the 26th of July. And I was like, okay. So we had 2 dates that we had to go off of to try to get him home for the birth. They gave us the wrong one. But before that, I was asking over and over again, and he was trying to get whether or not he got approved for leave. And
that was a battle.
That was a battle because we just didn't know. We were waiting. I don't even know what he was telling you.
Bertier and Captain Gaines.
But what were they like? Why was it taking so long for? Like they all knew. Everybody knew going over to Okinawa. Like he wanted to come home for the birth.
It was well established.
Yeah, and this was the plan. And it was like I don't understand why. From when did you guys leave in April? You left in April, I think.
It was like February. No, wasn't it March?
Well, I know we landed the day the tsunami hit mainland.
That was another thing.
Yeah, because then everybody thought we were dead.
We were. Yeah. I woke up to that and I was freaking out. But the whole thing with him getting leave was such a headache because again, I'm at my parents. I'm trying to figure out if we should book plane tickets, if we're going to be able to book plane tickets, if if it's going to be on time, if it's going to be late. Turns out Naval Hospital messed up the due date and he was born July 13th. So we're on somebody said it's easy. Same bell. He says you left February of 2011. Was it February?
Yes, it was February.
Okay.
That's right.
Sorry. Anyway, so where was I? What was I saying? I don't know. That's what happens. But anyway,
you're trying to get the leave approved.
You were going down that path.
Right. So then July 13th comes around. Like I was in denial all day of July 13th. I said, I'm not going into labor. Because I'm waiting for him to come home. I'm trying to time it. And
we got the leave approved. After I had
Right. You got it approved, but the later date. So we thought, okay, he's going to come home on the 22nd, which was my birthday. We can induce labor. My doctor said totally safe to do it. We'll wait for him to come home. We'll induce you if we need to. And then it just didn't work out. And that was a whole other frenzy because in labor, I'm trying to get a hold of him. Jeez. My family's trying to get a hold of him.
Wow.
I didn't who did I call?
Somebody from Camp Guard.
Somebody from Camp Guard.
I gave him your number.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Because Dan, you weren't even attached to her. Like,
No, I got stuck.
you weren't even attached to her, so she had to go through a whole different chain of command to try to get to you.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing my aunt my aunt was telling me my cousin was like on the phone with the Red Cross. I don't know what she was thinking, but she was just trying to get some sort of like,
right.
You know, she's like, I don't know who I need to call, but my cousin's in labor and her husband's overseas and yada yada. So, right, I honestly like I messaged whatever his name was, and I'm waiting to hear from him. Meanwhile, I'm at the hospital and it's progressing fast.
Yeah.
So I'm, of course, a mess because this is not how I envisioned it and what we re-envisioned it. And literally the second I was starting to push, he called. And my brother-in-law happened to be there, so he answered. And he was on the phone with him the whole time.
That's why his elbows hurt.
That's why right. But and he was able to at least be on the phone. And then after we were able to Skype him. Because they wouldn't let you do it. That's like hospital protocol now. Like they won't let you video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of legalities and stuff.
Right. Right. So it was like he was on the phone. He was, and then we video chatted. And then it was like, do you still want to come home on the 22nd? Or do you want to save that time for when you guys all come back? So we decided, because you guys were returning the next month, August.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Because I remember, I think Munoz also had a child, and so I remember we were all on the same bus, and we wanted to make sure that him and Dan got off first to be able to meet their children.
You said that, right? I think you said Turner was like, let them off first or something.
Somebody did. Like Munoz, McDonough up front.
Yeah, I mean, that's a special moment in time that, like, you'd already had so much taken away, and that's the next best moment you can have. Fuck yeah, absolutely. Right. Get to the front of the bus, and like everyone else can sit down and wait to go hug their, whatever.
I know, Dan.
Hugging you. I changed diapers.
Yeah, right away. That was fun.
Yeah, so my daughter was born November 10th. And I remember, Dan, and I'm sure, Carrie, you felt the same. I understand deployments in the military. It's just like we weren't going to Afghanistan, so it was just so hard. I missed pretty much the first year of her life.
Yeah.
To be in Okinawa. It's like, it's hard to digest. It was a bad time. So.
And I remember being like, I was friends, obviously, on Facebook with a lot of military, and I was just over it. And I was nasty. I was like, this is a stupid, useless deployment. And I was just going off.
I wasn't even with them.
And one of the moms of my friends was like, if people don't like the way military is done, they shouldn't be a part of it. And I was like, you should just direct this comment at me, because clearly you're annoyed about what I'm saying. And you know what? I get I was being irrational, but at the same time, like
no, it's not irrational.
Yeah, but you're going through a lot as a woman with your husband and a child, and
right.
I couldn't imagine.
And it was a non-combat deployment, so I was like, why can't you just come home, or why can't you just skip this one? I was just so frustrated that
they was just stuck me with another battery, like they did to other people.
Yeah.
Nope, not me.
Yeah, no. I was with Meza in 3-9. We were supposed to go back to Afghanistan, and they took me off that deployment because of my daughter being born. And then Romeo picked me back up and took me to Okinawa. So,
family first.
Good old Romeo.
We love Romeo. It sucks. I know it sucks
because you just have no control.
You have no control. Yeah, it's tough. So I want to talk a little bit about when you talked about the incident that happened after Afghanistan. Did things get better, or was there communication, or was it you just didn't talk about it, and then
with therapy or counseling, whatever you want to call it, it got better because it needed to have a third party completely, no bias. Mediate, and she was wonderful. Was she specifically military? No. Or
No.
she was outside of, she was not even on base or anything. So it was like, I forget how we found her.
That was probably the better. That was probably for the better.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of, trying, because communication was hard at that point.
Mhm.
So we needed that person to kind of say, help us along with it. And there were, things before going to therapy that I knew he couldn't talk about, or didn't want to talk about, that I'm not about to like make him talk about it, but I wanted him to know, like, if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Right. The door's open. The door's open.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I think with the counselor, that helped it as well, because she was another person to say it's okay to either talk about it or not talk about it with her, but that's a whole other avenue as far as
Carrie just needs to know.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about what you guys, all veterans, go through, and letting that out. That's a whole other avenue. But yeah, that's what we were trying to encourage here.
Mm-hmm.
For him to communicate about what happened or what was going on, or
even just how he was feeling about it. He didn't have to go into specific about what happened, but it was, how are you feeling about what you went through?
Well, I think that's the hard thing, and I don't want to put words in Dan's mouth, but just to give the audience kind of like how we are connected in a certain sense. I can almost be. I am Dan, right? I am in those shoes, and it's not that we maybe can't express what we're feeling. It's just that we're not feeling anything, right? There's a lack of feeling towards things, and that creates an actual feeling inside of us of like, man, like that's not normal. I'm not normal. This isn't normal, right? And then you just lock up and you shut down, right?
That's
and you ask any man, are you okay? And they're gonna say,
I'm fine.
I'm fine. Especially a veteran and women too, respectfully. Like I don't want to segregate that, but I'm saying in this situation, he's always going to be fine. The veteran's always fine, right?
Right. Like these, don't worry, I got it. I'm good.
Yep. I'm gonna. Yep. Because inside it's such a battle to figure it out. I mean, you've been looked to, and you come from such a position of power in such a literally life and death situations, and you come out here and you have to figure it out because it seems so simple to, right? But things move fast, and things are very loud, and things are very, very foggy.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, and I think it's, just the psychological view of looking, like having to shut off your thought process of like thinking about your wife and your family and all that, and then constantly being worried about being hurt or your buddies being hurt or not making it home. Then all of a sudden being home, and your brain gets trained a certain way, right? So you just shut off. It's very, very difficult, and you're experiencing your own thing, right, Carrie? I mean, that's you want to help and you can't.
Well, it's interesting that hearing what she said. She's I was telling him. She said I was telling him like I'm here to talk about it,
right?
Thinking that there was a specific thing when inside Dan, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but it was a storm going on, right? And you can't articulate that properly.
Dan, do you want to talk? Can you talk about it a little bit, or?
Well, that other time, our neighbor threatened you while you were pregnant.
Oh, and you guys were over. Oh,
overseas.
Yeah, but he's talking about like
what you were feeling, what you were going through mentally when you came back.
Yeah, just like, do you remember that first kind of like the high kind of wore off, the party phase, and then you're just like, holy shit, I'm home.
Right.
The emptiness and anger.
Yeah. Is that what you were feeling?
Yeah.
This is somebody who doesn't like to open up in general.
No,
Sure.
That's perfectly fine, and that's perfectly fine.
I'm like that box. You throw in, you hide that.
But then throw military life into that, and being a Marine and going through and seeing what you do. It's like again, something else that I had no control over. Like I wanted him to get it out because I know how unhealthy it is to not get it out.
Right.
But
Of course.
like Turner, like you said, like it's like he didn't. I don't know if he knew what to say, or how to pinpoint it.
There are no words sometimes, and
Right.
and I, and this is just for me and my journey of just late. I've just kind of looked at it like shit, like all those things that I was going through, like, and it's such an obvious thing, but when you're going through it and you have this weight on your shoulders that you have to figure it out, you don't necessarily look around and the immediate people you're affecting, i.e. your family,
No,
wives, relationship, whatever situation you're in. And 10, 11 years out, I've just started being like, oh my God, like what were they thinking? I'm sitting here thinking I had all this to figure out, but at the end of the day, how many other Carries are out there thinking that, I just, all I want to do is help, because that's, as the role, and I don't want to sound a certain way, but as a role of the spouse is to be there and be supportive, right? Like, Carrie, I know you very well. I hope, and you're a fixer, right? Like you want to help and you want to make it better. That's
Right.
who you are as a person.
Right.
And when you can't, you start questioning things, and so it's so interesting to see everything, and start giving that angle of respect to look at.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's natural too with even just being a Marine. You're not told to talk about what's going on with you in general, period, right? If you're feeling lonely or if you're feeling upset.
No, they shut you down as soon as you give someone inspiration.
Anyway, so
as soon as you give someone inspiration, hey, you can do, getting that last pull. Go ahead, show your fucking mouth. Just screaming at you because you're trying to be like a cheerleader. Like, it's not necessarily they looked at it in a negative way. Like, you couldn't express. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't express shit. You don't say.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely not. So the only thing that they got a good reaction out of was anger
and aggressiveness.
Anger and aggressiveness is what they and people like us three right here thrived on that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, okay, so I'm trying to be a little bit of who I was as a man, or as, my individual, and then you're going to put me in, okay, cool. So now I'm going to get a reaction and I'm going to go above and beyond. Well, all of a sudden that flips something.
Yeah.
Because you're getting such great reactions, you're getting promoted, you're getting new responsibilities that you've worked hard for. You're getting all this, praise for being an asshole. Like, there's no way around it. You're and I know for me, I loved it. I loved everything about it. And Dan, all of us, and I think there was a part of us that really thrived in that arena too. But then you got to shut that off and come home.
Yeah,
and then that demon gets caged. It's not even in a box. It's caged with a key, and go ahead.
Well, so do you mind talking about kind of where things hit a bad point when you guys got home and
when after you guys got out, or when he got out?
When you guys transitioned out.
Yeah, when you guys made that jump.
Okay. So it was a year and a half, I think, after we came home. We were in our apartment. Anthony was turning 2. No, it was his second birthday. And we had his birthday party. And Dan and I had gotten into an argument that escalated pretty bad. And again, it was one of those things where I'm like, this is somebody else that I'm not,
right.
And I was trying to disengage kind of, but I'm also not good with that. If, you know me, I'm going to say something.
That's when the box got opened up.
Right. And it just escalated very badly. I left for the night with Anthony to go to my parents' house. He was in a very bad place. And I think that's when he reached out to you, Turner. And that was where we a couple months after agreed to.
No, Turner saw the signs, so he called me.
Oh, he called you. Oh, because we were Facebook posts, all that. It was just really a bad night. And again, he was in a different place. It wasn't Dan. It was like somebody else.
I'd have to agree with that statement. Dan, I'm not sure if, we've talked about it a little bit between you and me, and a lot of those conversations will always be between you and me. And I respect you letting us touch on this a little bit, but it wasn't Dan who was driving the bus. I could hear I as soon as we were on the phone together, and I'm not going to get into details, but it wasn't him.
Jack Daniels driving the bus.
What'd he say?
Jack Daniels driving the bus.
Yeah, it was somebody, but it wasn't him. You're right. And so it's interesting to hear you say that too, Carrie, just because those are two sides that met. So there's a commonality, right? Like,
and it was at that point, that was our very low point, because we not long after decided to separate.
Okay.
Which then led to us dissolving our marriage, I guess.
Yep.
we got divorced.
Okay.
And we were apart for almost
5 years.
No, it was 5 years. We were 5 years. 2014 we separated, and we got back together at the end of 2019.
So can you guys talk about the process? What led you guys to get back together?
Man, it is bad out there.
There you go, Dan. Wait them out, baby.
Bad. Some bad mofos out there. I cannot stress that enough. And for me, on my side, I'm going to say, when there's somebody who you always know that you could rely on and turn to, and that's him. I'm like, what? I'm like, it wasn't even a question. I would have, say, like a car issue, or I would have something in my apartment.
Mom needed help,
or my mom needed help. He was always the person I called, and if I was dating somebody, they're like, well, why are you calling him? I'm like,
right.
That just was always my go-to. And of course, we had Anthony, and it just never felt right to not be together. Look, he wants to join in and say,
yeah. What's up, A-Dog? How you doing in the building, baby? What's good?
How was karate?
It was good. I beat everyone.
Awesome.
Yo, you ain't gonna beat me though, son.
No.
Anthony, it wouldn't take much, buddy. Wouldn't take much.
Yeah,
Anthony,
exactly.
I really do like seeing the pictures over the years of you doing all the karate, man. You're really, you've gone through a lot, man, and I really like your consistency with the sport. So it's really cool. So if you ever need somebody to beat on, you give Uncle Andy a call. All right.
There you go.
He won't be standing long, but he'll take it.
Dude, this kid's a savage, bro. I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying?
I believe you.
Well, don't mess with him, right?
I believe you.
Yo, I held you when you were a baby, and that's why.
Yeah.
Why you had such good posture was that one time.
Yeah, you were like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, I think I had that picture too. I need to look through my Facebook.
I do remember coming over that day, and I was very, very scared because I was. Yeah.
You're like, I don't know how to hold a baby.
It's so little.
I was like, just don't drop him because I'll kill you. But
so, if you guys could look back now, what do you think? If you could have tools in your transition, not only just from like the whole Afghanistan experience and Japan, that debacle and all that stuff, and transitioning out of the Marine Corps, if you could do it differently, if you had some access to something, what would you like to do differently, or what would you like to have that could have helped the situation, or was it just kind of had to play itself out?
I think
I just had to play itself out
for him, but me, I think if there was consistent counseling, like especially getting out,
Yeah.
I feel like there could have been more provided for him
Yeah. Oh yeah.
as far as counseling goes, and even for both of us too. Like, it wasn't easy to go from one extreme to the other, because they don't make it easy. But on top of everything else, so I personally feel like there could have been more support as in the mental health department.
Now, do you think that now this is just off the cusp, and this is something that for me personally, Matt and I talk about it all the time. Disarray 1775 really has a strong foundation in wanting to make an impact in this arena. Let me ask you off the cuff question. If you can recall those early stages, would you think of, kind of like we do here, a buddy check? Do you think something along those lines, just in general, to call a check in and say, hey, I know things are moving pretty fast, I would imagine right now, you're X amount time out. What's going on? You guys good? Just like a liaison to then be like, okay, this person, right? This family now needs this.
Right.
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 Kind of.
That would have helped out a lot.
Instead, yes, we have the internet, we have apps, it's overrated nowadays, right? We need to streamline this process, cut redundancies. And if all it is like a routine check, the family knows, okay, listen, like X amount of time, like I know, hey, when this person calls, I'm going to make my list. And then we can sit down as a family and say, okay, this is what we're struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then this person can say, okay, they can point resources or can kind of help straighten out your thought process, because I also think there's where huge problems lie is in the military. Everything's so structured and everything does move fairly quickly.
Yes.
Out here, nothing's structured and everything moves faster. So trying to organize and pick and how we've been molded and kind of created, it doesn't necessarily jive out here, especially when you're looked at to be this, the man, the Marine, or female, whoever, right? Like, so you think that would probably be something that would help?
I personally think so,
Definitely.
because it was like, I don't know the terminology I want to use, but it was almost like, it's like, okay, you're out of the cage now, go figure it out.
It's like when you have the Marine recruiter helping you through the process of getting into the Marines. They need somebody.
They wouldn't leave you alone.
Yeah.
Because they did all the work.
Okay. Well, good. I'd like to actually, Matt, write this down too. I would like to touch on this, and then I'd like to maybe have you guys a part of us building some sort of structure around what we just talked about. Again, this is something that we personally as a network here want to build on and create something for people to help with this transition. So I would love, diving more into this at a later date and really picking out some things that we could build. I think this is interesting. I really want to dive into this.
I agree.
Yeah, I know.
It should just be a given.
Yeah.
Right. And again, not everybody, and I think of it looking at it this way, it necessarily doesn't have it doesn't have to be, not every veteran's going to utilize this, right? And I think a lot of the things too, and I'm going to be on a board here with a local charity for veterans locally in my area. I think a lot of it is just making the veteran feel like they're a part of something again, right? So, all right, so maybe say I don't have any issues and I get out, but I still want to be a part. Like I know that there's a need and there's a job to be done.
Yeah.
But if I'm that person and I volunteer my time, hey, X amount, 3 months, I can be that guy to check in, right? Like, and maybe you don't get to build that relationship with each family and that's rotated, right? So then you necessarily don't know when people only volunteer for 3 months and jump off, and you don't necessarily build that really close relationship with that person, because then I think that could turn into something too. But
Right.
I like this. This is what this is about. Like that kind of just was created as we're talking here, and
Peeling the onion.
That's what. Yeah, that's yeah. I like that. I like that. That's the Italian in you.
But
Of course.
but I think that what we've tried to start here is exactly what helped with the situation with Dan too, and we've had Turner, me and you have had millions of conversations like that where both of us have been at our breaking point, and we don't do a good enough job of taking care of each other when we're out, right?
That's 100%.
Yeah. So
You can't say that any better. Like that's exactly how it is. The unit leaves as soon as we disband. Like and that doesn't make any sense because
right.
looking back, we've spent so much precious time together, and we created a lot of storms where we probably could have come together as a unit again, right? I mean,
trusted each other with their lives.
Yeah, we've tried exactly like it's the same thing, and I guess I've looked at it differently too. It's like, all right, well, these are the people that I've crossed my paths that are in my life forever, right? So it's like good, bad, or indifferent, whether they like it or not. That's right, amen. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna have to rely on these people, and if they don't want it, then they can get out, right? And then I'll just go to the next person, and eventually I'm gonna have nothing but a great support system. And I hate that it's taken this long for us to get to this point, but I've also been able to take a kind of a backseat to look at everything that's unfolded amongst our group of people and our veterans and our family. And it's wild. Would you guys change anything up to this point that looking at, you guys have a beautiful growing family, a new home, a newfound relationship. Dan actually smiles in photos now. You know what I'm saying? It's not all just weaponry. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's look at him, I can see he's blushing through the pixels. Is there anything you two would change up to this point?
I probably would have stayed in.
I was, I was thinking that. I feel like he should have stayed in.
If it wasn't for that one prick.
Right.
But now, Carrie,
yeah,
that was probably what was best for him. Was that best for you?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like maybe so.
Like to personally, like when thinking of my own needs, no. However, as a family, like I think a lot of the heartache we eventually went through would not have happened.
Right.
There was a lot.
Yeah.
So everything up to this, I mean, everything now to this point, obviously, Dan, you're not going back in, right? Like that ship has sailed. And I think for me, what's that?
I can always join the army.
You could, I guess you could always, yes, you could always join the army. You could do that. There's a newfound, I can see just by talking to you guys and just interacting off this stuff that there's a newfound like kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Fun and
you guys
youthfulness amongst you two. Am I correct by seeing that?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm 80.
Buddy, trust me, I know, man. I take out the trash and I need an oxygen. Just
God, here we go. Carrie, these two.
This one's 10. This one just started, so I'll be like
we're starting all over again. So like in general, like with everything.
Yeah, I will say this. I think it's important, and I think that what we're doing here and what, like through Dan's story, your guys' story, knowing that it's okay, Carrie, if you would have known at the time when Dan came back, like, listen, he's not going to know how to talk or express himself. He's not going to know how to share things. He's going to be angry and he's not going to know why. All those things, and Dan to know that it's okay to feel like that, right? Mm-hmm. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay to be confused about who the hell you are. It's okay to be lonely. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be angry.
But there needs to be to interrupt you, Matt. There needs to be a compromise there on the veteran side too. And I'm not necessarily coming at anybody. I'm speaking from my experience too, because if we keep in that path and in that divide, there's always going to be a little bit of a wall there. There has to be a give and take on each side, and the veteran has to break that down, and there's not going to be change.
You have to.
Like there isn't, and however it happens or needs to happen amongst those two people, whoever we're talking about, the veteran has to start chipping away at it.
Yeah. But
I
I don't.
try to hide that from everybody.
What's that?
I try to hide that from everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and that's and
Just got
Dan,
enough
that's
on our
all
plate.
natural, and,
Yeah.
and that's a big thing too, brother. Like you need to understand, like that's a completely natural.
Yeah.
It,
Your
it's
story is the same as many. That's the hard part. That's the hardest part. Is talking, getting out, communicating. It's not. I'm sure, Dan, that you wanted to communicate in some aspect, but
better, yeah.
it's hard.
It's frustrating, and then Dan, I know I think you and I are very similar, and we get the fuck it's, like it's, you get so overwhelmed, and it's everything's just like when you're like, you know what, fuck it, like whatever, you know what, and then you're a million miles an hour, and you're extreme, and
Well,
you create a
what do you
storm.
naturally go to? You go to.
Well, because that's where we thrive, right?
Right.
Like that's where we got the best reaction out of people, because we
right.
were supposed to be violent and scary and wild and
Yell
crazy.
and swear and all
Yeah,
that
and
stuff,
just
yeah.
be maniacs, and then that makes you feel good because look what I created. I created all this separation. And it's, but at the end of the day, you calm down. And how many times, if you went there and cracked a beer, lit a cigarette after, and been like, damn, I'm an asshole, but now I got to fix this. And then it's like, man, that the original problem is only this big. And then I went and created, and this is that I'm talking about me. I'm not even Dan. So we're the same person, right?
Yeah, we're
so
all the same. We're all the same person. Yeah.
And that is a huge message, I think,
Yep.
for every veteran listening, and for every family member listening too, is that it's all okay. This is what's going on is natural. It's normal. Right. And a lot of the things we did in the military that were our normal aren't normal to civilians, but this is the civilian normal of the bullshit that we had to deal with. Right. Does that make sense? Like, so with that being said, though, if this is going to be the norm, we are interrupting, in my opinion, the civilian side of things. That's why we have to start breaking down our walls. If we're going to, there's always going to be a part of us that are left there. Dan. There's always going to be a part of every veteran that's left wherever they lost their soul, right? But you're not going to have any chance of finding it if you don't start chipping away. And the greatest thing is that you've got the best support system sitting right there on that couch with you. You've got everything you need, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. I just want to say I appreciate you guys, your honesty and your candidness, and I know it's not easy to talk about this stuff, and I guarantee you that it's going to help somebody, not just tonight, but down the road. Someone's going to watch this, and it's going to be exactly what they need to hear, and it's going to hit home. So
even if it was 1 minute of this, any part of it that someone catches on there's so much value here, and this isn't the last time that Disarranged is going to see you guys. I think there's a lot here that we have on our notes that I would love to spend a whole just time talking about, and really just diving into one subject of it, and being creative together as a unit, because like I said last episode, when you point resources at a team of veterans, they're unstoppable. When you put a veteran out there by himself, we were in a combat unit. We were in a unit. We weren't in a 4-man special teams unit where we solely we had the skills and capabilities to solely rely on ourselves. That's not how we were trained. We were trained by a unit. And if you look back your whole life with sports and whatever you came up, all the times that you've thrived, Matt, Dan, me, everyone looking out there, I promise you there was some sort of unit behind it. Let's get back to that unit. And that's what this is about. This is what we're here to do. And we're going to help. We're going to help with the transition. We're going to, trust me, we've got some cool shit popping where we're going to infiltrate this, and we're going to get in there, and we're going to make a difference, because all we got to do is make noise. That's where we get families like you to come on and talk about your experience and get raw and get open and get emotional, because we can make a difference. All it is putting some like-minded people together, point some resources at it, and watch out. So I hope everybody out there sees that. What's that?
Better than the VA.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. it's funny as I've gotten older, I just realized everything's just a business. And then once you understand business, and then you understand how to kick a door open, well, shit, wait, I can talk. And then the Marine Corps taught me to kick this way. Okay.
Right.
So I got something to say. I want to tell you about it, and you're going to give me my respect and listen to me. That's all that's happening right now. You know, we're just we're all transitioning our talents into something else out here. And everyone at a part of Romeo is going to be about it. Oh, we got some comments. Matt, do you want to get into that to right now?
So there's a question here from Brianna. It says,
Girl,
do you feel there are adequate
Louis' wife.
resources post active duty? If so, is accessing them reasonable, or is it too difficult?
Good
Yes, go
question.
ahead.
I don't think so.
What?
The question is, do you feel there are adequate resources post active duty? If so, is accessing them reasonable or too difficult? I don't think there are enough resources, in my
'cause
opinion.
When I was getting out, they had that one little class,
That was it.
and it's like you
TRS.
go through it.
I don't even remember it.
I don't either. Here's some
No, and that's and we have touched on that. So,
Okay.
Brianna, thank you very much for your question. Right now, folks, we're going to open up for questions. If you have questions for me, Matt, or the McD's and Big A over there, yo, Big A, give me a flex real quick, kid. Let me see them guns. What are we working with? Wrong. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa. I got to zoom out.
Holy
All right.
cow.
But get your questions in. But to touch on this, Brianna, Seps and Taps, it's a
That's
it's a 3-day course where they basically tell you, oh, you're exciting, congratulations, and this is how you write a resume. Well, unfortunately, there's Google for that now. And then they try to point certain resources at you, but it's not helpful for, I would say, any ground combat. That's all I can really speak for. It may be helpful for other people, but
It is different now, Turner. It's not 3 days. It's longer than that. It's called TRS. It's Transition Ready Seminar, and it's a little bit longer. I think the problem is that you got so much shit going on in your mind, right? And you have a family, and you're trying to think about what am I going to do when I get home, and I got to set this up, and they're throwing like website, pamphlet, and it's a lot to absorb at one time, right? So, but they do a little bit more now than when you guys got out. I don't know if it's helpful to some people. I mean, the help is there if you look for it on a website, but it's just a lot.
But yeah, that's my point. Like you said, there's pamphlets, there's reading.
Right.
A lot of people don't want to
No.
sit through that,
No.
Oh,
And
it's so commercialized almost.
Well, it's crossing T's and it's dotting
I's. Yeah, it's like, hey, look, we did it.
Right.
Yes.
We did it.
Yeah.
How many
times you've been to the VA and all their filing cabinets have all this stuff all over, like just stacks of stuff that probably should be resources for veterans, nothing to do with it. But Dan, with that being said, my mother wants to know, what was your experience with the VA?
not a pleasant one, I guess. How many times I had to do I had a deviated septum that still not getting claimed for.
You had 2 surgeries on it too, right?
2 full ones and then a little one. So I had to go down the Bronx because I couldn't breathe out my nose ever since I got out. They did that. Something closed up. I had to go back down there. And then a couple months later, I'm like, this is not working. So eventually, I forget how long it took. I go all to Albany. They finally did it.
Yo, shout out Upstate.
What?
Sorry.
Albany.
Oh, Albany.
And it's still messed up.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back again and try to deal with it.
Because they didn't help. Like, they're just not helpful.
Then, there's no proof that it happened in the military. I'm like, well, why would you guys do the surgery?
I will say,
Am I a guinea pig?
Yeah, I will say, man, I tell you, you got out. You and Turner, you guys got out the worst fucking time in the middle of the war. The efforts were somewhere else, and obviously the mission was going to go to Afghanistan or Iraq or whatever. Marines weren't taken care of good enough to set them up for success. No one said, go to the VA, claim your shit, take care of your mental health. It was never discussed. I will say when I got out 4 years ago, it is a lot better. They force you to go through that process, even if you don't want to. Like the younger guys are like, oh, I don't need that shit, blah, blah, blah. They force you to go through that. It was just when you guys got out, it was a bad fucking time. And it just,
I'm motivated because yesterday's price is not today's price. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go in there and we're going to make some changes. You like that one?
Well, then if you went,
I saw Fat Joe say it on a meme one.
What?
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Oh my
the price
God.
went up. But
what did we call everybody that went to sick call?
What's that?
What did we call everybody that went to sick call?
No, you want me to say
Louis, Albany.
What's up, Japan?
All right, so Louis done, and then I saw St. Val said something, but then
so we're gonna close with this. So we're gonna put this on, but not a question, but a comment. You guys inspire me. We've all been there together in the trenches, and it's awesome how we all turned out. I think that is one of the greatest things to close on. For this evening, Carrie, Dan, A-Dog, Little Man's. I really do appreciate you guys coming on. I wanna do this again. I want this episode to settle in. I want to get the resources out to people, but I want to structure an episode around certain things and really do a deep dive with you guys. I think your perspectives, it can be really, really used for anybody out there that's going to be going through any type of transition. And I think just trauma in general, right? I think that's where the underlying thing is, right? Yeah. You know, for years we've been getting screamed at and told violence is the key. And I would imagine on the opposite end within the civilian side of things, trauma's trauma, right? Yeah. Getting, and however you deal with it, this is what we're going to be here to change. So I really do appreciate you guys. You guys are a part of my story forever. And I'm very grateful to be a part of yours. So,
well, thank you for having us.
Thank you guys so much.
It was a good time.
And so, yeah, thank you. And we will see you guys next time.
Wait, Turner.
Whoa.
When you coming up?
Oh, my God. Yo, he's putting me on blast in front of our audience. Listen, I'm going to have my people get with your people. All right.
There you
go. Dude, they're awesome.
Yeah.
They're awesome, right?
That was fantastic. And there it is. Yeah. Thanks, A-Rod.
Thanks, A-Rod.
Yeah. Well, and then that shows a little insight on why people don't communicate, right? Why Marines and military people don't communicate. You can't even talk about when you're hurting or when you're sick. And
I just want to give people just like kind of a little insight also into the process of how you and I kind of structure our episodes. Mm-hmm. And this is why I love if they could see like our notes and everything that we kind of compiled to kind of like give this some sort of body. We pulled so much more out of it the way it unfolded this evening.
Yeah.
And I think that is something to kind of look at as life too. Things aren't going to be always the way you plan it. You got to keep going through it, no matter how rough the start is. You keep trudging through it. It's going to get better. And we pulled out some great information tonight. I think we, me personally, I think we helped them. I think we helped us. I think a lot of our viewers took something from this.
Yeah,
and I think that it's going to be on our channel for anybody to go look at is going to be awesome.
Yeah. And I think like we said before too, I think definitely a part 2.
100%.
Where we can dive into a little bit more about how trauma creates more trauma in that circle, right?
Yeah, 100%. There's so much here that we can dive into, and I want to really start really nitpicking at things and really taking a look. So and if it takes us 6 or 7 episodes to get into it, it doesn't matter, because we're about to, that's what we want to do. We want to expose things so maybe we can find patterns and help people out.
Yep.
And in closing, with that being said, I wanted to give a early happy birthday shout out to my grandmother, Wanda Turner.
Happy birthday, Grandma.
And I also, not to necessarily end completely on this note, but I wanted to dedicate this show to one of our lost family members. We had a dog pass, 14 years old. It's my little dog's sister, P2, was my grandparents' dog. She was the run of the litter. She was very opinionated, but she was such a kind and gentle soul. So I wanted to give my grandmother a shout out. Happy birthday, Grandma. Her birthday's tomorrow. And
happy birthday, definitely.
Animals are awesome. And that's why I wanted to leave this in a positive note, even though it is a sad thing. But
yep.
For veterans out there that don't have animals, I suggest looking into them, man. My dog has taught me a lot, and I think that they can teach us a lot as humans and as people of trauma.
Yeah, I will say this. Sometimes communication is very hard for a veteran, right? Having everybody's seen my dog, Bruno. Having him, I don't necessarily have to communicate with him. It's learning how to express those emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Pets draw that out of you. They really do. And I agree with that, man. We never talked about this, but I think it's a great thing to get a pet if you have a hard time communicating and
100%,
expressing yourself. Pets will definitely do that.
As as we transition, I may call me a conspiracy theorist, but I do feel that there's certain emotions that have come out of me the more that I've been out, that I've experienced. And to be real honest, my dogs helped me get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's no way around it. So
100%.
With that being said, this episode is dedicated to P2, and thanks for all the great years. And it was awesome. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope everybody has a great evening.
Love you guys.